Previously, we've shared coverage with Lizzy's mother and other family members, but for the first time, I spoke with Elizabeth's father, who lives in Illinois. He told me that Lizzy came back to Utah a year or two prior to her disappearance to participate in Job Corps, which we previously reported. Here's part of my conversation with her father, Kale Green.
What do you think about when it comes to your daughter here? And do you feel like she's okay?
I mean, as any parent would, you hold on to the hope that they're still alive until proven otherwise. Sadly, the mind wanders, and I've seen enough true crime documentaries and stories and podcasts, and to know the world's an evil place. And the scenarios that have ran through my mind, none of them have been well. And I guess sadly, the only one that would involve her still being alive to some degree would be that she was being trafficked. And, that's not a fate that I'd wish upon anyone to begin with. All the other scenarios, lead to finding a body somewhere. And, that's nothing a parent wants to ever have to deal with either.
You mentioned not kind of giving up hope. Have you had the conversations at all with the sheriff out there in the sheriff's office? Have they reached out to you about anything over the last year or so?
No, they haven't reached out to me at all. And when I've reached out, I've been told, they have no new information. Whether or not they're saying that to protect their investigations or not, I don't know. Part of me believes that they're not taking it seriously because she's not a minor. Also, due to some things they found on her social media that, were of adult nature, I don't think that they're taking it as seriously as if it were, a minor or, an upstanding citizen of, a politician's child or, lawyer, whatever. I don't think that she's getting enough attention, but at the same time, I think every parent that has a missing child feels that their child isn't getting the attention that's deserved until they're found.
Well, I appreciate Kale speaking from the heart and from the gut and being honest. The Juab County Sheriff's Office is investigating this case. We've shared the information from detectives written in search warrants, but we haven't been able to speak with Juab County about anything related to this case. It's not for the lack of trying. I can show you the texts and emails and phone call attempts, even public record requests way back when. It's unclear why Lizzy would have really left Callao in the first place. There have been plenty of theories that have been floated out there over the last year and a half or so.
I don't see her leaving and just ghosting everybody. Even her friends of many years haven't heard from her since she's gone missing. And, there's been no kind of social media presence at all since she's gone missing. And that's not like any 20-year-old that I know, period. It breaks my heart. And I can't believe that, in today's technological era, that there isn't some kind of digital footprint somewhere. I mean, they explained the fact that there was only one cell tower within 100 miles where she was at. And, so when it did ping, it says she was on the Air Force Base or whatever it is over on the other side of the mountain. And, they couldn't use that to triangulate any kind of actual location. And then her cell just went dead. In fact, I've only ever had two people say that, they've seen someone that looked close to Elizabeth. And, one of them sent me a picture, and the girl did look close, but she had some distinguishing markings that weren't Elizabeth. So, but other than that, it's been really hard to not knowing, as hard as it might be to find out what has actually happened. Not knowing and the what ifs are so much worse. People don't realize, how much torture we put ourselves through just thinking of, what could be happening to our babies out there when they go missing. And I'm not going to give up until she's found, and whoever's responsible faces justice.
Well, if you read comments on posts about Elizabeth, it's just amazing how many people say, you don't just vanish. Well, Callao is about as off the grid as anywhere. No cameras, dirt roads, nothing remotely close in terms of a supermarket or a gas station. There have been no real monitored or mentioned pieces of evidence that have been found and shared, or in the case of search warrants, signs of technology haven't really seemed to help the investigation. There's a cell phone tower out there. You heard about that. That's way out on the Dugway side. Everything seems to ping to that one tower. There's not many towers out there that would have helped pinpoint a solid location of Elizibeth Green's whereabouts back in April 2024.
I went out there. I was out there within 3 days of finding out that she was missing. We'd made the trip out there to see for ourselves and get a lay of the land. And it's I can't remember what town we met Paul and Vanessa in, but I know it was like still a 2.5-hour drive through the mountains to get to where they were at.
I do want to ask you about Callao because there's a lot of people that will see this coverage on social media that go, oh, someone just doesn't disappear. There's cameras everywhere. Not in Callao. Calao's not like a city or even a suburb at all.
No, not at all. I live in rural Illinois, and we've got remote areas, where it's nothing but cornfields and whatnot, but there's still, a town within 5, maybe 10 miles, not just open desert and mountain ranges for hours upon hours. I was totally taken away by the remoteness of that place. And my thoughts, being from Illinois and with my background and whatnot, was, this is the kind of place someone goes to disappear to, not disappear from. If anybody knows something, please say something. It's been too long. And I just, with the remoteness of where she was at, I know that if a strange vehicle came through the area, it would have been noticed, because when I came out there, the local group chat lit up like a Christmas tree. Who's here in the black SUV? What are they doing? Because strangers don't just come out there. Yeah, I mean, I realize there's not cameras and whatnot, but somebody's seen something and noticed something.
Elizabeth, 5'11", light brown hair, now 23 years old. It's been a while, but her last known clothing was a tie-dye hoodie, light blue pair of jeans, black Converse sneakers, had a white purse with her. She was leaving her home, a trailer she lived in with her mom, stepdad, and we believe at least one brother. She was heading to work for her first day at a nearby ranch, maybe a couple stones throws away, never showed up. If you see someone that looks like Elizabeth or have any idea where she may be, by the way, since we put this out last week, I've had a few messages about people that may look similar. That's what I'm talking about, people. This is why we do this. Keep your eyes open. And if you see anything, call the Juab County Sheriff's Office, 435-856-0358.